Hey everyone, welcome back. It is Tuesday the 16th of January and the topic for today is, are we finally going to break out of this range? We're here on the daily on EU and you can see how bad this range has been. We created maybe this external range here and ever since we just stayed within it, pretty much closing back within the range every single day. We can see we've got this massive bearish momentum today. The daily candle is just heading downwards, possibly towards this daily fair value gap that I had drawn out, and it's deeper within the discount, so we could be heading to mitigate that finally. Let's go down to the 4 hour. You can see how obvious this range was again. We originally had this external range here, external high, external low, and in the previous week we swept the buy side liquidity from the external high. However, we took that liquidity but we still closed back within some sort of range. We didn't immediately head down towards the sell side, but it looks like now, having smashed through this previous weekly low, previous daily low, previous weekly low, none of those are stopping price at the moment. My assumption is here that we've swept this external buy side liquidity and it looks like it's heading down to at least sweep the external sell side liquidity from the range. And what would make sense is to obviously enter our POIs here on the 4 hour and daily, possibly down to this 4 hour order block here, before we see any type of bullish movement on the higher time frames, meaningful bullish movement anyway. So I've just got a note here for the higher time frame POI and the external liquidity as a price draw, as a reminder. Just to draw our attention, we have our 4 hour order block and we have our 4 hour fair value gap, but I haven't drawn that in because I don't want to make the charts too messy. Let's go down to the hourly. You can see we've created our new 1 hour leg, right? We have this sort of bearish leg that we've created now, high somewhere up here, and to this new recent low. Price doesn't look like we are going to pull back bullish to these POIs at the moment, but I have them drawn out, right? Because if we go over to DXY, so I'll go up to the 4 hour even, you can see we have taken some buy side liquidity from the external high already. So we have divergence with EU as well, which we've had all week because of this range. DXY arguably in a worse range than EU, so it makes sense. We've got this daily fair value gap which isn't fully mitigated, and neither is the 4 hour or 1 hour fair value gaps, right? But anyway, just a recent price action, you can see we've swept buy side liquidity now. This may cause the DXY to have some short-term bearish behavior, and that in turn would obviously cause a pullback on EU. So we may get a pullback to one of these POIs before heading lower, or simply if we close out this hourly here, this becomes a 1 hour OB, so it may just pull back to here. So we'll have to see if that holds or not, or what happens there. So back to DXY, just another thing to note, we also have this price gap here at the open. I'm not sure, I've left a note here because I'm not sure if this wick is real. I don't know if that's just a broker wick on TradingView. Sometimes that would just disappear. So if that is or isn't filled, it may be a draw for price. Price may come to fill that, which would probably line up with one of our POIs on EU. This may not happen today, but it's just something to note as a draw in price, because it's the same as a fair value gap, right? So back to EU, if we drop down to the lower time frames, which I'm not going to spend much time on today because I don't want to get sucked into just looking at lower time frame order blocks and trying to get in trades and FOMO into trades. But our bias does seem a bit more lean towards shorts today. So I'll be looking for some price action and preferably a higher time frame POI to short from. As you can see, yesterday there were opportunities, there have been opportunities in this range all week, to be fair, but nothing I could get involved in myself due to how I enter. So you can see, just to go through on a 15-minute, yesterday was a bank holiday, unfortunately, in the US. We had this late London, it's like, I think the entry was around nearly 4 p.m. in London, so it's a bit out of my trading hours, and we'd already taken some sell-side liquidity here, which I was fine trading against, but not with the time. The time there was like 4 p.m. and the bank holiday, it didn't look favourable to me. So we had this good trade here, and it played out, but I would have had to have held that all night, which I'm not willing to do. So I'd rather just sleep and look for opportunities the next day. So just to summarize, yeah, we look to favour to continue bearish today. We may be breaking out of this range, right? It's not done yet, so it's hard to say. We could always just reverse back and stay in this range, unfortunately, but today looks good so far. So let's see how it goes, and I'll see you guys then soon.